So as you guys probably already know, Slash's appetite for destruction sound is pretty hard to replicate. Today we're going to try dial that in. Starting with the amp, Slash borrowed, and by borrowed I mean stole, a modified Marshall Super Lead from a rental company. While that specific amp was never captured or modeled, Line 6 does have a 2204 mod amp. You can even see here on their website, their description for the 2204 mod, they mention Appetite for Destruction specifically. Sweet Child of Mine is a really gainy and saturated lead sound, so we're going to set the drive at 8.4. We're also going to right click this and assign the controller to snapshots. For the EQ, we're going to dial in really bright and cutting. Slash's sound is quite a focal point of the song, so we're going to get it front center stage. We're going to reduce the bass to 2.2 to allow the real bass to cut through and to de-muddy Slash's sound. The mids are going to be 5.8. The treble and presence are going to be 9.3. If you've got a brighter guitar than me, you'll want to back off the treble and presence or it'll sound too harsh, but my guitar sounds very dark. Channel volume is going to be up at 8.1. The master is going to be at 7.7. For the sag, we're going to set this to 6.5. And what this does is it gives us a bit more compression, it gives us a bit more sustain. If we were to lower the sag, that's a more modern sound. It's a more like gent or modern type punchy metal. More sag is more of a classic sound. We're going to set pre-mid to 0, and we're also going to controller assign it to the snapshots. What this is basically, if you think of it as a free Ibanez Tube Screamer, it'll push your middle frequencies. This is handy if you want to save DSP and not use an Ibanez Tube Screamer on your solos. For now, we're going to leave the pre-mids at 0 decibels, but in the solo, we'll wind up pushing this and using it as our Tube Screamer. We can leave the pre-mid FC at 1000 kilohertz. For the bias, this is kind of similar to the sag. A higher setting is going to give you more warmer, smoother, compressed sounds. A lower value will be tighter, punchier sounds. Finally, bias X is going to be set to 5. That setting has a big impact on your dynamics. Moving on to the cab, we're going to use the 5x12 Greenback 25. The mic is going to be the SM57. We'll set the position to 2.2 and we'll set the distance to 1.25. I imagine a lot of beginners might find the mic placement confusing. What I'll do is when I'm finished most of the patch, I'll listen to the track in context of the full mix. I'll have all the other stuff playing and I'll just slowly move that mic around, and you just might find more of a sweet spot somewhere else. You can drag it around with the picture here too. I'll just sit here and listen to it and drag this picture around. I left the angle at 0 degrees. And the low cut is 133 hertz. Let's give a quick listen to how that sounds so far. Next, we're going to add our reverb, and we're going to use the stereo Ganymede reverb. Line 6 lists this as an original reverb, but it was inspired by the Boss RV6. We're going to set our decay, which is how long the reverb lasts after you play something, to 6.4. We're going to assign that to snapshots. We're going to leave the pre-delay at 40 milliseconds. The tone is going to be 8.1. Modulation is 7.0. The mix is going to be 40%. And we're going to assign this to snapshots also. We'll give that a quick listen now. That's the core of Slash's overdriven sound on Sweet Child of Mine. Ideally, you'd want to use a Les Paul on the neck pickup. Some people roll the tone all the way down. I prefer to keep it up. Now moving up to path 1, we're going to add a poly capo. The reason I gave the poly capo its own path is just because it's so DSP hungry. And then we're going to set the output of the first path to A, so it comes down to the second path. We'll set the interval to -1 and the tracking to X fast, and everything else is standard. If you're playing live, leaving the tracking at X fast is probably going to feel better in your hands. On the other end of the spectrum, giving a higher stability value will sound better for the audience. There'll be less artifacts, but there will be more lag. So set that as you like, but I leave it at X fast at least while tracking. Moving on to the clean amp, we're going to use the Jazz Rivet 120. And we're just going to drag it down to its own split here. And we want the splitter looking like this and the mixer looking like this. There isn't solid information about what clean amp was really used on Sweet Child of Mine. While Slash is known to have owned a Roland Jazz Chorus, I see some comments online saying that it was his distorted Marshall but with the volume down. Having tested both of those options, I preferred the Jazz Chorus. The Jazz Chorus was also used on Every Breath You Take by The Police. Metallica's 1, and the Cult's He Sells Sanctuary. We're going to set the drive to 1.8 because it's a very brittle and soft sound. For the EQ, we're going to go for something similar as the overdrive amp and get it fairly bright. The bass is going to be 2.5, the mids are going to be 7.9, treble is 8.5, presence is 8.6, and the channel volume is 6.2, and we can leave the master at 10. We're also going to turn up the bright to 2.1, so let's give that a listen now. Next, we're going to add a stereo chorus, just the one called chorus here. A lot of this is fine default. The only parameter we're going to change on this block is the mix at 56. In front of the amp, we're going to add the deluxe compressor. We're going to set the threshold to -28.8, the ratio to 10.1. The attack arm release is going to be very fast. We're going to minimize both of these parameters. We're going to set the level to 0.3, and that's all the settings on the compressor. And let's give that a listen now. The next thing we're going to look at is the mixer. So this is where we're going to decide what volume is set on which amp, on which snapshot. We're going to right click A level, assign to snapshots, and the same on B level. And we're also going to set the B pan to stay at 50. This isn't a snapshot thing, it's always at 50. On snapshot 1, if you think of this as the intro sound snapshot, we want A level, which is the dirty amp, to be 3.4. And we want the B level, which is the clean amp, to be 0. So then on snapshot 2, which is our clean snapshot, we're going to turn down the A level, which is the dirty amp, all the way down, and the B level, which is the clean amp, up to 4.4. And as you can see here, if I move back and forth between them, on snapshot 1, the dirty snapshot, we've got 0 and full volume here, and then snapshot 2, and then just double checking that those switch back and forth when we toggle them here. Moving on to snapshot 3, which is a very short section of the song right before the solo. Flash stops playing lead guitar and plays some rhythm guitar with Izzy. On snapshot 3, the A level, or the dirty amp, is going to be 3.4, and the clean amp is going to be off. And then coming to the amp head, we're going to set the drive to 5.9, and the pre-mid, I've got this at 0.1. We're going to reduce the reverb settings here. The decay should be 4.2, and we're going to bring the mix down to 30% just to dry up that dirty sound a bit. And we can listen to how that sounds now. And finally, snapshot 4, which is going to be our solo snapshot. We're going to drop in the teardrop 320, and make sure you assign this to your correct pedal. I'm using Helix native, so I had to do it with MIDI through my quad cortex. On the Helix floor, it's quite easy to just assign it to your expression pedal 1. Do a lap through your other snapshots 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to disable it on 1, 2, and 3, and enable it on 4. Coming back to the amp, we're going to increase the gain to 6.9. And this is where we're going to use the pre-mids that we talked about earlier, which is basically the built-in tube screamer to 4. On the mixer, we're going to want to set the A level to 3.8 and the B level to -60. And then finally, the reverb for the solo is going to be 3.2 on the decay, and we're going to do the mix at 37%. And we can hear how that sounds now. If you enjoyed recreating that together, guys, I've also done Hot for Teacher here and Cowboy Smell here. Cheers!